The future is already being discussed in Los Angeles, even as Matthew Stafford prepares for another season under center. That's what makes this moment so important for the Rams. They're competing now, paying their veteran quarterback now, and yet quietly planning for what comes next. Stafford confirmed he'll return for his 18th NFL season. On the surface, that sounds like business as usual. After all, he's coming off a 2025 campaign where he threw for 4,707 yards and 46 touchdowns. He earned MVP honors and outperformed younger quarterbacks like Drake May and Sam Darnold. Production like that doesn't suggest decline. But it does raise a more complicated question. If Stafford is still playing at an elite level at 38 years old, when is the right time to prepare for the transition? According to insider Vinny Bonsignore, the Rams could draft a developmental quarterback in the first round. The organization, as reported, is already planning for what was described as an inevitable transition whenever Stafford retires. That wording matters. Inevitable. No urgent. No immediate. But unavoidable. The Rams hold 2 first-round picks in the upcoming draft, number 13 and number 29. That alone gives general manager Les Snead flexibility. They can address immediate needs. They can maneuver the board. Or they can invest in the most important position in football while they still have stability at it. And that last option might be the most strategic of all. Because when teams wait too long to find the next quarterback, the transition often becomes chaotic. We've seen franchises scramble after a sudden retirement or a sharp decline. The Rams appear determined to avoid that scenario. Reports indicate they have already discussed their plans for the position with Stafford. That's another important detail. This isn't secrecy. It's transparency. It suggests alignment between the front office, the coaching staff, and the quarterback himself. One name that continues to surface in mock drafts and discussions is Ty Simpson out of Alabama. Simpson declared for the 2026 NFL Draft on January 7th, and many evaluators quickly labeled him a first-round talent. In 2025, he threw for 3,567 yards and 28 touchdowns. He led his team to 11 wins and a Rose Bowl appearance. Those numbers are strong, but what stands out more is the context. Simpson operated as the offensive leader in high-pressure situations. He delivered consistency across the season. And according to ESPN analyst Riddick, he could be an ideal fit for the Rams system. Fit matters more than raw ability. In Los Angeles, a young quarterback wouldn't be asked to start immediately. He would be asked to learn, to observe, to absorb the nuances of Sean McVay's offense. And perhaps most importantly, to study Stafford's command of the position. That apprenticeship model has worked before in this league. It lowers expectations early and allows development without forcing immediate results. But there's a complication. Several quarterback-needy teams are scheduled to pick before the Rams. The Jets, the Raiders, the Cardinals, the Browns, the Dolphins. If Simpson is highly regarded, there's no guarantee he reaches pick number 13. That's where the draft strategy becomes interesting. Do the Rams move up if they identify him as their future? Do they wait and risk missing out? Or do they view this class as deep enough to find value at number 29? The NFL Combine, beginning February 23rd, will offer clarity. Prospects will perform in front of all 32 teams. Interviews will matter as much as arm strength. Decision-makers will gather data, and boards will shift. While all of that unfolds, another layer of this story sits in the background: the financial structure of Stafford's contract. Ahead of the 2025 season, the Rams negotiated updated terms. Stafford received $44 million in guaranteed money last year. The deal technically runs through the upcoming season, but the cap implications stretch beyond that. If Stafford remains on the roster until the start of the 2027 free agency period, he is positioned to earn another $40 million in guaranteed money. Originally, he would have earned $58 million across 2 seasons. The revised structure increased that total to $84 million over the same span. From a cap perspective, that's significant. Stafford carries a $48.2 million charge in 2026. Then comes the $33.6 million void year charge in 2027. Void years are a familiar mechanism in the modern NFL. Teams use them to spread cap hits into the future. It provides immediate flexibility, but creates deferred obligations. The Rams have navigated similar territory before, notably with Aaron Donald's contract structure, continuing to absorb cap costs even after his retirement in March 2024. In Stafford's case, the organization appears comfortable with that arrangement. Head coach Sean McVay addressed Stafford's longevity on Mad Dog Unleashed Radio in 2025. He said he believes Stafford can play as long as he wants and expressed hope that it would be a couple more years. That statement is both supportive and realistic. Number one inside the building is publicly pushing for an accelerated timeline. Yet no one is pretending the clock doesn't exist. The Rams currently project nearly $45 million in cap space this year. That places them in a stable financial position. It allows them to remain competitive, potentially be aggressive in the draft, and still absorb the future implications of Stafford's contract. This is the balancing act. Win now, prepare for later, and avoid letting either priority undermine the other. Drafting a quarterback in the first round while your veteran just won MVP can feel contradictory. But in reality, it might be the most disciplined move a franchise can make. There's also a psychological dimension. If a rookie like Simpson were selected, he would enter a situation without immediate pressure. There would be no divided locker room, no quarterback controversy. Stafford's status is secure. His performance demands that respect. Instead, the narrative would center on mentorship and continuity. That's very different from drafting a quarterback because you have no choice. Still, the optics matter. How does the fan base react to investing a premium pick in a player who may not see the field for a year or more? How does it shape expectations for 2026 and beyond? These are questions the front office must weigh. Les Snead has historically been willing to think long-term. He has maneuvered draft capital before. He has embraced aggressive strategies when necessary. But this situation calls for patience more than boldness. Because the Rams are not rebuilding. They are recalibrating. And recalibration is subtle. It's about smoothing transitions before they become abrupt. The most intriguing element may be Stafford himself. He is coming off an MVP season. He is still performing at a high level. His contract structure suggests both commitment and contingency. If he plays through 2026, the team absorbs the void year hit in 2027. If he decides to retire earlier, the financial consequences accelerate. Either way, the organization must plan responsibly. That's why this draft matters more than usual. 2 first-round picks create options. Option A is immediate roster reinforcement. Option B is succession planning at quarterback. Option C is some combination, perhaps using one pick on a developmental passer and the other on a contributor who helps Stafford chase another postseason run. No of those choices are inherently wrong, but one of them shapes the next decade. And that's what makes this story more than just a contract update. It's about timing. Great franchises often know when to transition before the rest of the league realizes it. They don't wait for decline to confirm what they already understand. They act while they still have leverage. The Rams appear to be positioning themselves in that category. At the same time, drafting a quarterback is never a guarantee. Even first-round evaluations carry risk. College production doesn't always translate. Systems differ. Speed increases. Expectations rise. If Simpson is the target, the Rams would be betting not just on talent, but on environment, on McVay's ability to develop, on Stafford's willingness to mentor, on organizational patience. There's also the possibility that the Rams ultimately decide against using a first-round pick on a quarterback. They could prioritize other areas and revisit the position in a future class. But the reporting suggests the conversation is active. And active conversations inside front offices usually signal intent. As the combine approaches, speculation will intensify. Evaluations will sharpen. Meetings will provide insight into leadership traits and adaptability. For Stafford, the focus remains on preparing for another season. His performance in 2025 answered doubts about age-related decline. It reinforced his value. It justified the financial commitment. Yet even elite play doesn't freeze time. The Rams understand that. And understanding it early may be the difference between a seamless transition and a prolonged reset. So here's where this becomes a broader football discussion. Is the best time to draft a quarterback when you desperately need one, or when you don't? The Rams, holding picks 13 and 29, have the luxury of choice. They have cap space. They have stability. They have a coach publicly supporting his veteran while acknowledging the reality of time. Few teams manage to align those factors simultaneously. This isn't about pushing Stafford out. It's about protecting the franchise beyond him. And if the right prospect is available, the Rams may decide that the smartest move is the one that feels premature on the surface. Because sometimes the calmest decisions are the most consequential. As the draft board comes into focus and the financial picture clarifies, the Rams face a defining choice. Continue riding an MVP quarterback with full confidence, or quietly draft the next chapter while the current one is still being written. Both paths carry logic. Only one determines how smooth the eventual handoff becomes. So as we watch the combine and analyze those two first-round picks, keep this in mind. The Rams are not reacting to decline. They are anticipating change. And anticipation is often what separates sustained success from sudden collapse. With that in mind, here's the question worth debating. If you're in the Rams front office and Ty Simpson is available at number 13, do you take him and begin the transition early? Or do you prioritize immediate roster help and revisit quarterback later? Let's talk about it.